You shouldn't have come, my mom said, slicing vegetables without even looking at me. My dad just laughed. It's not like anyone missed you last year anyway. I smiled, set my gift bag down, and left quietly. 30 minutes later, a call came. From the florist, the cancellation was confirmed. Then, from the bank, my access to the joint account was removed. The family group chat exploded. Why would you do this? I just smiled and typed my reply. I felt like a failure after everything. They had said, it's not for a lack of trying. I'd spent weeks obsessing over every little detail, what to wear, what to bring, what to say. I told myself that last year didn't matter, that maybe they had changed. I hoped that by showing up, I could prove I still wanted to be a part of their lives and that things might be different this time. I was wrong. I arrived an hour early and parked down the block as if I were a guest, not their daughter. I sat in my car, practicing how I'd say hello. It was their 31st anniversary. It wasn't a huge party like the one last year. But there would still be people, a couple of dozen guests, family, friends, church acquaintances, neighbors, and me. I was technically invited, but definitely not wanted. Last year, they celebrated. Without me entirely. I wasn't just left out. I was completely excluded. They didn't even try to explain it until weeks later, when my mom said they just wanted peace that night. When I pushed her, she finally admitted it was a deliberate exclusion. That conversation had haunted me for months. I didn't go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and no one called. So when the invite finally came this year, forwarded in an email instead of a direct message, I was hesitant. Still, I went. I walked in with a carefully chosen gift bag full of custom, thoughtful gifts, the kind of things that take effort and time. I had spent nearly $1,000, not to buy their affection, but to try to show them they still mattered too. Me, even if I wasn't sure I mattered to them. I found my mom in the kitchen slicing vegetables, and she didn't look up. Shouldn't have come, she said. My dad, still wearing his apron, chuckled. It's not like anyone missed you last year either. They didn't even try to pretend. Not in front of me. Not even when I handed them the gift bag and said, "Happy anniversary." No, thank you. No eye contact. Just silence. So I turned and walked out. I passed through the dining room where guests were starting to arrive. Some sat with drinks, others just stared, and a few asked where I was going. My uncle looked at me with a puzzled expression, glancing toward the kitchen as if he knew something was wrong but didn't want to get involved. My parents didn't follow me. They didn't explain why I had left 5 minutes after arriving. I hoped someone asked. I hoped they had to squirm to answer. I got back in my car and just sat there, my hands on the steering wheel. I wasn't thinking about the embarrassment that was theirs now. I was thinking about all the time and energy I'd wasted on people who clearly didn't care. Then I pulled out my phone and didn't hesitate. First, I canceled the bouquet of white lilies and blue orchids that was scheduled to arrive tomorrow. A $200 gesture. Gone. Next, I logged into my bank app. I removed their access to the joint account they had been using for almost 2 years. It was never meant to be a lifeline, but it had become one, quietly covering their bills. Groceries, streaming services, and my sister's rent with $3,000 every month. They never once said thank you. Minutes later, the confirmations came in. Florist. Cancellation confirmed. Bank joint account access removed. Then the group chat lit up like a fire alarm. Why would you do this? Are you serious right now? You just embarrassed your parents in front of everyone? Finally, the one that made me laugh out loud in my car. What kind of daughter does this on their anniversary? I typed a single sentence. You said you were better off without me. Now you get to prove it. Then I turned off my phone, drove away from their neighborhood, and didn't look back. It was the first time in years I hadn't felt guilty for putting myself first. Asterisk, I thought they'd be quiet for a week or two, licking their wounds as they always did when things didn't go their way. I didn't expect what happened next, or how fast and desperate it would be. By the time I parked at home, My phone was blowing up 6 missed calls, 2 voicemails, all from my parents. I didn't answer. I sat on my couch, took a deep breath, and let the quiet settle in. For once, no one was around to twist my words or make me feel guilty. I felt a strange sense of relief, but it didn't last long. At 8:13 p.m., my sister Katie texted, "Hey, what happened?" I just stared at the screen. Then another text came in. "I just got a notice my rent payment failed." I thought Dad handled that. The unraveling had begun. Katie had no idea the money had been coming from me. A year and a half ago, after Mom told her she had to figure it out on her own, I stepped in. I called her landlord, paid 3 months in advance, and quietly linked her rent to the joint account my parents used. They let her believe it was them, which made them look good. Now, in one night, that lie had fallen apart. I didn't reply right away. I wasn't sure how. I didn't want her caught in the middle, but she already was. Just after 10 p.m., my dad left a voicemail. I almost didn't listen, but I did. The shift in his voice was unforgettable. "All right, you've made your point," he said. "But this isn't just about us. You've hurt your sister. You've made a scene in front of everyone. You've embarrassed the whole family. You think cutting us off is some kind of victory?" He paused. "Don't forget who gave you everything." That line stuck with me. Gave me everything. As if I hadn't been covering their bills for nearly 2 years. I didn't reply. The next morning, I woke up to a knock on my door. I checked the peephole. It was Katie. She looked exhausted, pale. Her hair rushed into a ponytail. She walked past me without an invitation. "I had to drive 3 hours because no one would tell me anything," she said. "I didn't even sit down. You didn't need to do that. I didn't cancel your support, just their access." She blinked. "Wait, what?" I told her everything, that I had been the one paying, that I hadn't wanted her to feel indebted, and that they let her believe it was them because it made them look good. She sat down, silent. Saw those thank you messages I sent to Mom. She trailed off. I nodded. I saw them in the group chat. She looked sick. "Listen," I said. "I'll keep helping you directly, not through them. But I'm done playing the good daughter for people who only want me when I'm useful." She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "They're going to come after you hard." I knew, and they did. The rest of the day was a slow-building storm. My mom sent a long message about how she had sacrificed everything for us. My dad wrote about betrayal and bloodlines. My cousin May texted me, "Please reconsider before you burn this bridge completely." Then came the real twist. That evening, my mom called Katie. She didn't know I was in the room when Katie answered. "We're so sorry," Mom said. "Tell Natalie to come by tomorrow. We just want to talk." Katie looked at me, could hear the hope in her voice. She wanted to believe them. I just nodded. I knew it wasn't going to be a real apology. They don't apologize. I adjust their tone when it benefits them. They reframe the story to make themselves look like peacemakers. But sorry, that word doesn't live in that house. Still, I went. Katie called me in the morning saying they felt bad and wanted to make things right. She sounded hopeful, or maybe just tired of being in the middle. "Let's see what that means to them," I told her. I pulled into the driveway just after noon. The house was quiet, too quiet. The cars were gone, but the tension was still there. Katie opened the door before I could knock. She looked nervous. "They're waiting in the living room." I stepped inside. Same house, same smell, same heaviness. They sat on the couch stiffly, like actors waiting for their cue. My dad gave me his fake smile, the one he used to look reasonable in front of others. My mom stared at the coffee table, rehearsing lines in her head. I sat down across from them without saying a word. My mom spoke first. "We've had some time to think," she said. "And maybe we didn't handle things as kindly as we should have, especially on a day like yesterday." My dad picked up seamlessly. "You've always been emotional, Natalie. We get that. But there's a way to resolve things without burning everything down." I waited. "Walking out like that," he continued, It humiliated us in front of everyone. You think that didn't hurt? There it was. The real issue. Not how they treated me, but how it made them look to others. That was the real wound. They looked bad. I said nothing, just listened. My mom shifted in her seat. We know things haven't been perfect, but you canceling that account, that didn't just affect us. You know, your sister needs that rent money. That's when Katie came in. Her eyes were red. She sat beside Mom, looked at me and said, I just don't want this to destroy everything. It already feels like everything's falling apart. I turned to her. You shouldn't be here right now. She blinked. What? This conversation isn't about you. I already told you I'll cover your rent. I'm not going to let you suffer for their mistakes. But don't let them use you like a chess piece, because that's what this is. She looked down, silent. My dad leaned forward. You think you're above this family now? You wouldn't be where you are if it weren't for us? You think your success just came out of thin air? No, I said. I got where I am by doing the opposite of everything you taught me. He stood up suddenly. Don't push it. You think cutting off money gives you power? We can talk too. People listen to us. Don't think your job's so safe you can't be touched. I stood up too. I've worked too hard to be afraid of two unemployed manipulators with nothing to lose. My mom looked shocked for a second, then furious. You think you're better than us? After everything we did? You didn't raise a daughter, I said. You raised a bank account, and now the account is closed. Katie quietly stood up, moving closer to me. It was the first sign she saw them for who they really were. I turned to the door. My dad called out, You'll regret this, Natalie. Right. But I didn't pause. I left that house again, not angry or confused, just done. Asterisk later that night, Katie texted me. Just one line. You were right. I didn't see it before. I told her I'd send the rent money directly to her landlord and not to worry about dealing with them. I wouldn't let her fall with them, but I wasn't coming back. That same night, my uncle called. His voicemail said they were devastated, that I was being cruel and that I needed to man up and fix it. I blocked his number. I expected a few days of silence, but less than 24 hours later, a letter arrived. A printed envelope with my name in neat cursive. I opened it slowly, knowing it wouldn't be pleasant. Inside was a 2-page typed letter. My dad's tone was cold and rehearsed. He said they were considering legal action to recover family contributions I had made over the past 2 years. He listed things I had paid for as if they were debts. I now owed them Katie's rent, a roof repair, groceries, his dental work. You made a choice, it ended. So did we. I sat stunned by how far they were willing to go. They were trying to flip the script and paint themselves as victims of my financial abuse. It would have been funny if it wasn't so calculated. I sent a copy to a lawyer friend, who called me 5 minutes later. This is absurd, but it's calculated. They want to rattle you. They're trying to bait you. Don't respond. That same night, Katie texted again. They're telling everyone you're stealing from the family. They're saying you emptied their retirement fund. I laughed. It was so cartoonishly evil. I hadn't touched a cent of theirs. They didn't have a retirement fund, but it didn't matter. They were rewriting the story. Then something unexpected happened. Katie showed up at my door with my cousin Evan, whom I hadn't seen in over a year. He was one of the few family members who didn't play along with the drama. He handed me a brown folder. I think you need to see this, he said. Inside were screenshots, notes, and emails. He had been at the anniversary party and overheard my mom telling different guests slightly different versions of what happened. To one, she said I refused to help anymore and threw a tantrum. To another, she implied I used the joint account to control them. Evan had been quietly piecing it all together. He had recordings and texts enough to prove I wasn't lying. I didn't know what to do with all this, he said, but I figured you might. I took the folder. I didn't have a plan, but having the evidence was enough for now. That weekend, my dad tried calling again. I declined. An hour later, Katie sent me a screenshot of a public Facebook post. My mom had made a full-blown monologue about how their only daughter had turned against the family and how they were struggling to survive without the money. I had ripped away. I got likes, sympathy, comments, and prayers. They were putting on a public performance. I posted one sentence under it. Should I start posting receipts? Or would you prefer I deliver them in person? 5 minutes later, she deleted the post. The group chat went silent. Evan texted me. Well, that shut them up. But I knew better. This wasn't over. After the Facebook stunt failed, things got quiet. But it wasn't a quiet I could trust. It was the pause before an explosion. By now, most family members had picked a side. A few reached out to me privately, saying they understood, but always adding, maybe it's time to just let it go. Family is family. What they really meant was, go back, be quiet, let them win. Then came a voicemail on a Tuesday morning from a blocked number. I almost didn't check it, but something told me to. It was my mom crying. You win, okay, she said. We were wrong. I see that now. I don't want this to go on forever. We just want our family back. Please come by tonight. Just talk to us. No yelling, no blame. We just want to make it right. I played it twice. Was the first time she had ever said we were wrong. Ever. I told myself I wouldn't fall for it, but a part of me needed to hear it. I called Katie. She wasn't convinced either. You go? I'll go with you. So we went together. Same house, same living room, but this time, no guests, no fake smiles. They sat across from us again. My mom stood up when we walked in. My dad stayed seated, arms crossed. We want to move on, my mom said. We're tired of all the hate. I looked at them. You sure that's not just because the money's gone? She flinched. That's not fair, she said. Then came the twist. My dad leaned forward. What if we made you co-nor of the house legally? It's what's fair. You've helped so much. I froze. It sounded so generous. Too generous. Then I realized it was bait. They weren't giving me anything. They were trying to tie me to the house, to them legally, financially, permanently. They'd found a new leash, dressed up as a reward. Katie looked at me, then back. At them. That's not what she needs. We're just trying to show goodwill, my mom said. She says we never appreciated her. This is us showing we do. And if I say no, I asked. My dad shrugged. You'll say no because you want to play the victim. You always have. There it was. It's the truth again. The crack in the mask. I'm not taking anything from you, I said. Not the house. Not your apologies. Not your guilt. You'll come crawling back, my dad said. I know. You just lost your last chance, I replied. I stood up. Katie followed. I'll keep helping you, I told her, but not through them. Never again. She nodded, her eyes wide, but calm. I think that was the moment she truly picked a side. We walked out together. Outside, she grabbed my arm. You're done, aren't you? For good this time. Yeah, I said. She moved out from under their influence. A week later, she officially changed her mailing address. I started wiring her $900 a month directly to her landlord. She sent me a message that nearly broke me. You're the only one I can trust. You're the best sister I could have ever asked. 4. My parents tried a few more times to mail messages through relatives. Even a half-hearted attempt to report fraud on the closed account. It didn't work. They stopped when they realized they had nothing left to take. No money, no power. No daughter, asterisk. It's been 4 months since I walked out of their house for the last time. Not a word from them, no calls, no emails, no guilt-ridden letters. The group chat hasn't made a sound. I almost forgot it existed. At first, the silence felt strange, like the eerie calm after a storm. I kept checking my inbox, expecting one last dramatic twist. But nothing came, and slowly the silence stopped feeling like a warning. It started to feel like freedom. I'm sleeping better now. Without that weight on my chest, no longer wondering which crisis I'll be asked to fund. I come home to peace, not stress or the constant hum of resentment. The old joint account is inactive, a vault to a life I no longer live. Katie is doing better too. She finally admitted she had been holding her breath for the last 2 years, always worried about the strings attached to everything they gave her. Now that the money comes directly from me, she's calmer, lighter, and different. She moved into a new place, and I helped her carry boxes. She opened her new front door like it actually belonged to her. "You're the only one who's never used me," she said in a voicemail that night. "You could have let me believe their lies forever. You didn't. You told the truth and you never stopped helping. You're my family now. You always were." Just when I thought things had settled, a mutual acquaintance DM'd me on Instagram. They had run into my parents at a local event. My parents were telling people they hadn't heard from me in months and feared I was involved with something unstable. They were spreading quiet, subtle rumors. I didn't respond, but I screenshotted the message. My parents were building a story where they were the victims, abandoned and heartbroken. I was the cold, calculating daughter who turned her back on them out of spite. I screenshotted that message too, adding it to the folder Evan had given me. Not to use it, but to remember, in case the guilt ever creeps in. I need to remember that they didn't just hurt me once. They built a system around my silence. And I broke it. Katie is the only one who saw the full picture. We talk more now, real conversations, not filtered through what we think Mom would want to hear. She told me the other day, "I used to think you were the difficult one because that's what they always told me. But now I think you were just the only one willing to tell the truth out loud." I didn't say anything at first because for so long I had believed the same thing. But now I believe her. A week later, I found a birthday card from my dad in an old box. It said, "You're stubborn, but you'll thank us one day." No, I love you. Just a reminder that control was always disguised as care. I threw it away. I cried that night, not because I missed them, but because I was finally grieving what I never had. Parents who loved me for who I was, not what I gave. A home that felt like safety, not surveillance. I didn't grow up unloved. I grew up conditionally. Loved. I emailed my lawyer friend again, asking if they could still try to sue me. He called right away. "They can try, Natalie, but you've got everything documented, and you've cut ties cleanly. Don't let paranoia ruin your peace." It made me realize I wasn't afraid of them anymore. I was just prepared. There's a difference. Being afraid meant I stayed quiet, trying to shrink myself to fit their version of me. Being prepared means I know what they're capable of, and I'm still standing. A few days ago, I did something. Small but huge for me. I changed my emergency contact from my mom to Katie. She cried when I told her. "You trust me that much?" "Yes, you're my family now. Not because we share blood, but because you chose to see me when everyone else chose the story." We still have hard conversations, but we're rebuilding something real, not built on debt and silence. I'm living in a new apartment across state. Line's a place I never told them about. It's smaller, but it's mine. The windows face the sunrise, and there's a little coffee shop on the corner that already knows my name. I sent Katie a photo of the view. She replied instantly, "And you look happy." I told her I was. And for the first time in a long time, it was true. I found an old journal filled with entries from when I was trying to win their approval. So many entries started with, "Maybe if I just ... double quotes, and what if I'm the problem?" I forced myself to read them, not to relive it, but to remind myself how far I've come. That girl in those pages, she thought survival was love and endurance was loyalty. She thought being treated with bare decency was something you had to earn. But she doesn't live here anymore. I wrote one last entry in the back of that journal, before throwing it away. It said, "You were never too much. We were never ungrateful. You were never the problem. You were just the first to stop pretending. And now I'm the first to be free.